Welcome everybody to Dawn's Intermediate Wednesday class at 12:30, and we're doing Christmas songs. Woohoo! And the two songs for today are the Christmas Waltz and the Little Drummer Boy. So get your music out and let's take some notes and let's find out a couple of things. What's the Christmas Waltz all about? Well, let's find out. It was actually written for Frank Sinatra, written for him, and he recorded it in 1954 on the B side of a new recording that he was doing of White Christmas. It was written by Sammy Cahn and Jules Stein, a very popular composing duo. And one day, Cahn recalls during a very hot spell in Los Angeles, the phone rang and it was Jules Stein to say, Frank wants a Christmas song. Okay, so they wrote him a waltz, and it pretty much happened that Cahn was working on a waltz, and so they just kind of used that one, and Frank had no idea it was going to become a standard. In 1992, Mel Torme recorded this song for his first ever Christmas album, and the first version that actually charted was not until 2003 when Harry Connick Jr. reached number 26 on the adult contemporary chart. It was also recorded by Peggy Lee, Doris Day, Jack Jones, Bing Crosby, Pat Boone, The Lettermen, Robert Goulet, the Osmonds, the Carpenters, Johnny Mathis, Andy Williams, Tony Bennett, and the list goes on and on and on. And there's actually, I listened to a bunch of waltzes, Christmas waltzes. Frank Sinatra had an animated video, believe it or not, and he did it nice and slow. Amy Grant did a really nice version with Mark Martel. I'm not sure who he is, but oh my God, does he have a fabulous voice. And they did a very slow version. And then the Carpenters used kind of a lullaby waltz, which is what I'm going to actually play it on. They started slow, and then they moved into a jazzier, faster version. Peggy Lee did a very slow version, and Doris Day also did a very slow version, and those were the ones that I listened to. But yeah, lots of people did this. But I was very amazed to find out that it didn't chart until 2003. Oh my goodness. Okay. Because it's a very pretty waltz. Now, I always thought it was actually kind of faster, and I used to always play this on a jazz waltz, and then I started, somebody told me, you're playing it too fast. That's not the way I remember it going. And so I, this year, actually listened to YouTube, imagine that, and found out that it should go a little slower. So, slow means like 106. 106. You don't want to make it so slow that it puts you to sleep, because then you're not going to feel good about it. And the fastest I did was a jazz waltz at 140. So those, between those two, 106 to 140, depending on how it makes you feel and what you want to play it on. I also used the smooth orchestral 3/4. I used the Bojangles waltz, and I'm going to start out with the lullaby waltz. As far as your roadmap, it's not too terribly bad. You play both pages. When you get to the bottom of the second page, the bottom line, first measure, you have some repeat dots. And the repeat dots, let me just see here. The repeat dots send you back to the beginning of the song. Now, repeat dots are always going to be on a measure line. And since there are pickup notes in this, you have to have your pickup notes on the back side of the dots, but you're also going to have your pickup notes at the bottom of your first ending, at the end of your first ending. So watch that. Then the second time you play it, you're going to skip the first ending and jump down to the second ending. And they're pretty much the same, so it doesn't really matter. You cannot make a mistake. You absolutely can't make a mistake. Okay, so I'm going to play the Christmas Waltz, and I'm starting it with the lullaby, and I think I have that on E1. Yep. All right.
I do know it, by the way.
You do know it now?
Yes.
You figured it out? Okay. then it repeats. And if you go to the bottom keyboard, it gives you a pretty flute. Basically, it's just the same ending, but instead of the C7, it just goes back to an F, so you can end the song in F. And because it's in the key of F, all you want to know that for is so that if you're using an introduction, you want to start that song with an F chord.
So when you played it the second time, you played it on a lower keyboard.
It started with a flute.
Yeah, where did you switch to the top?
Oh, I don't even remember.
Okay. All right, that's okay.
I think on page 1, Things for You and for Me, and then
Okay.
I started with a duet on the top. It's That Time of Year.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
You always want to look for the end of sentences, the end of phrases to change your sounds.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yep. And then what you could also do is you could start it slow, and then on another preset, you could have your fast one, because the Carpenters actually did it this way. They started it slow, and this is the way I've always played it. And I didn't know. I didn't go to YouTube. Before I went to YouTube and just was thinking my own stuff, I played it like this, because I kind of liked it jazzy. Completely different flavor. But see,
tempo? What was the tempo that time?
That one was Jazz Waltz at 140.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now, the most of the versions that I heard were very slow, but try a combination of the two. Now, you're going to have the presets already set up, or you're going to have to completely stop before hitting the next one if you're going from one to another, because if you don't stop in between, or you don't have your presets already set up, it's going to keep the same tempo. Okay? If you're going from one waltz to another and you're doing it on the fly, you're not letting it stop, it's going to keep the same tempo unless you completely stop it and then go to the next one. Then it will be the tempo that comes up for that particular waltz. Okay? Got it? Good. I did add a few chords, not too many in this. You're changing pretty much once every measure, so it does make you change chords pretty rapidly. Let's go to line 1, third measure. You may put a 7 on the G minor. Line 2, no changes. Line 3, you may put a 7 on the G minor once again. Line 4, make the F an F major 7, F capital M-A-J 7, and your two notes are E and F. Remember, the major 7 is that jazz chord, and it's always the letter minus 1. Measure 2 of that line over the blacked-in quarter note. Put a D minor, dog minor, or D minor 7, which is C, D, and F. Let's go to the next line. The G minor, you may put a 7 on the G minor. Let's go to page 2. No changes in the top line. Second line. Third measure, you may put a 7 on that G minor. And the A minor at the end of that line, if you wish, you can make it an A minor 7 flat the 5th. That's a scary chord. And your notes are, you got to play 4 fingers if you want to do that one. And it is E flat, G, A, C. It's a pretty cool chord, actually. Instead of just an A minor, it just gives a real pretty sound. And where are you going? You're going to that D7. Now, one thing I did not do, but you could have done, is in line 3, you could have put fermatas over the D for and put another fermata over the C for this, and really drag that out. If you decide to do that, you're going to either want to do a no chord or a complete stop of the melody of the rhythm. And over the D, you're going to want to put a D augmented, which is D, F sharp, A sharp. Then over the C, go back to a D7, which is C and D. And then those chords, your D augmented, then going back to the G7.
Okay, you lost me.
I'm on line 3, first measure, and this. And this. If I didn't play it this way, but if you wanted to, you could drag those. And this song of mine. Okay, you can drag those out by either stopping the rhythm or putting your no chord on. And then you want to have 1 chord per, or just play both of those notes on a D7. But you could play them completely by stopping the melody. You could just play, you could do a no chord and just play those notes without any chords. And this song of mine, because that's how most of the singers actually did it. Or do it the way I played it with no fermatas and just play straight through it. Right? Okay. But those are the only changes that I have as far as chords. The song moves pretty nicely. I like this song. I don't like it when it drags real slow. I actually like it because now I'm used to it as an upbeat, fast jazz waltz. But the Carpenters did do it that way. They started slow, then they moved into something a little faster. But everybody else sang it slow. So, yeah, you play it the way you like. Let's do some fingering. C4, D5, C4, low C1, high C4. Now that's kind of tricky right off the bat because you have to stretch an entire octave in between your 4 and your 1. But if you don't do that, you're going to run out of fingers for that little D up there. C4, 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 D5, B flat 3, A2, B flat 3, G1. Put an arrow on the next A, make it a 3, C1, A3. On the tree, C5, B flat 4, G2. A4, G3. Let's go to the third line. D1, F2, G3, A4, low B flat 1, C2, D3, E1, put a circle around it, you're tucking it under. Line 4, E1, F2, E1, F2, G3. Put an arrow on this F and make it a 1. Otherwise, you're not going to have enough room to stretch. G2, C4. That is a long stretch right there. You can do it. D5. The last line on that page. C4, low C1, high C4, 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 D5, B flat 3, A2, B flat 3, G1. Second page. Put an arrow on the A, make it a 3, low C1, A3, C5, B flat 4, G2. If you want, you can put an arrow on this A, make it a 4, G3, second line D1, F2, G3, A4, low B flat 1, C2, D1, circle it, you're going to tuck it under, E2. Now you can use that second finger to do a glissando up to the C. If you're not going to do a glissando, you can make the C a 4. Otherwise, it's 2 to 2. Now, your D and C on line 3 would be D5, C4, A3, low D1, A3, A3, C5, A3, low D1, A3, high D5, C4, the next line A3, D1, A3, low D1, E flat 2, E natural 3, F4. Now don't get upset that that E flat is not going to match the chord. It's a passing tone. You're going to be playing a C chord and you're going to be playing an E flat. So don't get upset about that. You're not sitting on it. It's just a passing tone. Because you're going straight into the E, and the E is in the C chord, okay? So there is not a mistake there. That's the way it's supposed to be. The F in the first ending is a 4. The last line, C4, D5. Those are your pickup notes to take you back to the beginning of the song. Then your F for the second ending is a 4. Any questions?
Yeah, yes, on the second page,
Okay,
third line,
okay.
fifth measure. The question is D augmented. Was that for that D?
No, the D augmented was actually the first measure of that line.
Yeah, okay, for that D.
Word and.
Okay, okay.
And
Thank
it's
you.
optional. It's completely optional. It's only if you're planning to put the
Right.
fermata over the "and this song of mine." So if you're planning to spread those out and keep those on a fermata and hold them as long as you want. I skipped them both, but if you want to arrange it that way, that's just an option for you to arrange it that way.
Okay.
All right, what else did I put this on? Smooth orchestral 3/4, strings and bells.
Dawn,
Yes, I'm
on the
sorry.
second page, third line, first measure, what are the fingers there?
5 and 4, D5, C4.
Thank you.
The third measure or the first measure?
First measure.
First measure, D5, C4, yes.
Thank you.
If you try this on Bojangles, it comes up to a nice accordion, which we don't use very often for Christmas music, but it actually comes out very nice. So whatever waltz you really would like to play this on, experiment with. That's your homework, is to find out, what do my waltzes sound like? And every time you play one, it's going to be practicing with your fingers, playing with your fingers and trying new things. Try different sounds. Try piano and strings. Try some of your bell sounds. And you're going to come up with different recipes. And you might not care for one, but you might say, aha, I don't like it for this song, but I might like this background for another song. It might make you think of something else. Okay, we're perfect on time. Excellent.
Hi, Dawn.
Yes.
Dawn, this is Carol. I have the Frank Sinatra Christmas Collection book.
Oh,
And
okay.
also, when we used to get the Life pages, when they used to send us to us, they suggest Wonderful Waltz.
Wonderful Waltz would be absolutely perfect for this.
Mhm.
Yes.
And also
Yes.
try Jazz Waltz, Modern Jazz, or Basic Waltz.
Yeah,
ultra
see, now
style.
that's how I originally thought the song was
Right.
supposed to be done, was on the jazz waltzes. But when
Right.
you listen to the singers, they're actually much slower. So my
Yes.
suggestion is, do a combination. Do the first time through with a slower one, like the lullaby, and then use your Wonderful Waltz or the Jazz Waltz for the second time through. Just make sure that you either stop in between or you have them set up on your presets so that you can do a little drum solo, kick into it, and then go to the faster version. Because
Right,
I actually like it a little faster and jazzier. I think it's nicer.
Well, the Wonderful Waltz they have here at 150.
Yeah,
according
that's
to-
really fast. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very, very fast.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else before we move on to the next song? All right, what do we know about the Little Drummer Boy? We know that this is one that Diane Graber really wants to play. Woohoo! She suggested this, and I do love this song as well. And there's actually quite a few rhythms that we can use on this. And I'm adding a few chords, but they are all optional. Every single thing I'm doing today is optional. This is originally known as Carol of the Drums in 1941. It was first recorded 10 years later in 1951 by the Trapp Family Singers. Remember them from The Sound of Music?
Yeah.
In 1958, the Harry Simeon Chorale sang it. In 62, the Ray Conniff Singers. In 1962, Bing Crosby also did this one. Then in 63, you had three people give it a try: Johnny Cash, Johnny Mathis, and Andy Williams. In 1964, Marlene Dietrich did it in German. Okay. So Joe Stafford as well. In 65, Diana Ross and the Supremes. Oh, hold on, I got somebody coming in. In 1966, Joan Baez. Henry Mancini. In 67, here's a good one, Lou Rawls. Stevie Wonder. And here's the one that I thought was very interesting. In 1969, Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, wow.
Jimi Hendrix, Purple Haze guy. In 1970, the Jackson 5 and the Temptations both did Little Drummer Boy. And in 1979, Emmylou Harris did a version, and she was pretty country, so country would be good on this as well. Check first with your song setup. For your song setup, okay? Because song setup usually brings it up to the bolero, which is under the Latin background at 112. And that kind of a background gives you this. And what you're looking for is something with some drums and something that's going to give you kind of a regal march. You could also use a grand march in this, which your background would sound like this. That works very well. I also did this on symphonic. Now, symphonic goes it has a lot of stuff going on. So cut the time in half and play the symphonic at 58, but play it at 112. Play it at that double time. And that's going to sound like this. and it just kind of gives it that regal, kind of a march feel. Try, if you want to get something a little bit more Renaissance, try your troubadours. That one I had a tough time finding a tempo. Between 100 and 112 was good. The bagpipes were actually quite interesting. Bagpipes. And so if you do bagpipes, it's going to sound like this. And now I'm still at 58. Interesting, huh? So some people either love the bagpipes or they hate the bagpipes. So, but this is just another way for those people who love bagpipes to be able to use it.
So, and all the ones you mentioned, they're all in style list?
They should all be in style list, yes.
Okay.
Yep. Most of them are under classic or traditional. The bolero is under Latin, and the Grand March is under March. Now, for those of you that have smaller instruments, what are you guys going to use? Traditional full band is perfect. Traditional pianist, which is a classical piano, or smooth guitarist at 112 also works very well. So what you're looking for is something that's just going to give you that nice even beat. And you want to look for something that's going to give you a little bit of a drum kick so that you can, if you wanted to, that's the bolero, and it gives you a nice drum solo. So you could always do a drum solo in between verses if you wanted to. That would work very well. All right, let's add some extra chords. Why? Because I can. But like I said, absolutely optional to add extra chords. Your F chord is good for the first two measures. No worries. Then measure 3, we're going to have 1 chord per note. Oh, but they're easy chords. They're easy. Over the B flat, put a B flat. Over the A, go back to F, plain old F. Over the B flat, put a B flat. And over the A, go back to the F. So you're just going B flat, F, B flat, F. Rup-a-bum-bum. It's actually not that hard. Now we're going to repeat that several times. Let's go to line 2. Third measure, we're going to do the same thing. Over the B flat, B flat. Over the A, F. Over the B flat, and over the A, F. You're just going back and forth between B flat with your thumb and F. Let's go to the third line. The C chord is good for 1 3/4 measures. Beat 4 of the second measure over the D, put a G minor, gorilla minor, or gorilla minor 7. The next measure, beat 1 over the C, put a C or a C7. That's good for 1 count, not 1 note, 1 count. So it's good for the C and the B flat. Over the A, plain old F, and over the G, go back to the C, chicken.
Dawn, can
Yes.
you repeat that? I'm lost.
We're on line 3.
Okay,
Line 3, second measure,
the C.
the 4th beat, which is a D. Okay?
D.
Put a
Like a
G
note.
minor over that D, gorilla minor. Then over the C for rum, put a C or a C7, chicken. Then over the A for pum, put an F, fish. And over the G half note, put for a pum, go back to a plain old C. Did you get it?
Over the G, put a C chord.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome, Jen. Line 4. Second measure over the C for 4, B4, put an F chord. First beat of the second measure, put an F chord. For 3 counts, beat 4 over the D for pa, put a B flat, butterfly flat with your thumb, and over the E flat you have an F chord. You may put a 7 on it, which would be E flat and F. Let's go to the second page. Second line, third measure. Rum, bum, bum, bum. We're going to have 1 chord per note. Over the B flat, B flat. Over the A, F. We've done this before. Over the B flat, B flat. Over the A, F. You're just doing B flat, F, B flat, F. Rum, bum, bum, bum. Okay. First ending, no changes. Second ending, no changes in the first measure. Let's go to line 4. Okay. The end of line 4 and the end of line 5 are the same. Rum, pum, pum, pum. And it's those same 4 chords that we just did. Over the B flat, over the A, F, over the B flat, and over the A, F. And then at the last measure of the page, repeat it. It's exactly the same. Over the B flat, over the A, F, over the B flat, and over the A, F. Let's go to the third page. Top line. Third measure, fourth beat. Over the D, put a G minor. Put a G minor or a G minor 7 for 1 count. Over the C, the first beat of the next measure, put a C. And it can be a C7. Beat 2 over the A. Put an F. And over the G, go back to plain old C. All right, let's go to line 2. Third measure, over the C, beat 1, F, plain old F. Beat 4 over the D, which is the last note in that line, B flat, butterfly flat. Line 3, no changes. Line 4, last measure, rum bum bum bum. 4 chords, 1 per note. B flat over the B flat, over the A, F, over the B flat, over the A, F. Just back and forth. B flat, F, B flat, F. And that's it. That's it. Not too hard, not too terribly hard. Let's do some fingering. Page 1, F is 1. G2, A3, A3, A3. B flat 4, A3, B flat 4, A3. Next line repeat, F1, F1. G2, A3, 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 A3. B flat 4, A3, B flat 4, A3. Third line, G1, A2, B flat 3, C4, 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 D5, C4, B flat 3, A2, G1. Oh, what's the best way to do this one? All right, let's do this. G2, A1, circle it. You're going to tuck it under. Oop, somebody's got a phone going. Thank you. B flat 2, C3, 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 D4, E flat 5, D4, C3, B flat 2. Now there's other ways to do that. So if your fingers like to do something different, go ahead. Top of the second page, D4, C3, B flat 2, A1. Put an arrow on the next C, make it a 4. C4, B flat 3, A2, G1. Check mark at the end of the line. Second line, F1, G2, A3, 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 B flat 4, A3, B flat 4, A3. First ending, third line, first ending. G2, F1, G2, F1. Let's go to the second ending. G2, F1, G2, F1. Fourth line, F1, G2, A3, 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 B flat 4, F3, B flat 4, A3. What did I say? F? It's G.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's B flat 4, A3. I'm sorry. B flat 4, A3. All right, let's go to the next line. Last line on that page. F1, F1, G2, A3, 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 B flat 4, A3, B flat 4, A3. Let's go to the next page. E1. I'm sorry, it's a G. That's because I wrote second notes in, so I'm reading all kinds of stuff. G1, A2, B flat 3, C4, 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 D5, C4, B flat 3, A2, G1. G1, A2, B flat 3, C1, circle it. You're going to tuck that one under. C1, 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 D2, E flat 3, D2, C1, B flat 3, circle it. You're crossing it over. D4, C3, B flat 2, A1, C4, B flat 3, A2, G1. Now there's other ways to do that as well. So if your fingers feel like going other ways, just remember to try to keep that thumb off of that B flat or the E flat, because that's going to hurt if you have to play those notes all in a row. Try to keep the thumbs off of the black keys. Let's go to line 4. You need a check mark after that held G, by the way. F1, G2, A3, 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 B flat 4, A3, B flat 4, A3. And the last line, G2, F1, G2, F1. Okay. Any questions? Nope.
Yeah, you said you had double notes printed in. Where did you use them?
I use them for starting on page 2, line 4. Mary nodded. But see, all you have to do is push the duet button, because I just ended up playing, and sometimes the duet's already on. But it does make it harder. It's a lot easier if you just hit duet. Okay? Since this is an intermediate class, let's just keep it easy. All right. I'm going to play this on the bolero. Now you're supposed to go all the way back to the beginning and do the next verse. I'm just going to continue so I can play a couple of different backgrounds. Want us to go back and play it again? This was excellent to use. The drums can be used as an interlude in between verses. You can just add a couple of measures of just drum solo. Remember, your drum solo is a no chord with a fill-in. And that's what you get for a drum solo. That's also a wonderful way to fade out the song. Me and my drum. And then do a drum solo and fade it out like he's walking towards the baby Jesus off in the distance. Okay, let's play a different one. Grand March actually works pretty well. Because again, if you do a drum solo, you get lots of drums, which is kind of cool. Very similar to the one we just played. Now if we go to a symphonic, remember I cut this one down. I went to 58 beats a minute, which isn't exactly, it's not exactly half, but it's close enough. Why? Because if I did it at 112, it would sound very silly. You'd have stuff going on like this, and you don't want that. So when you use a rhythm and it sounds weird and sounds too fast, just cut the tempo in half. And see if that doesn't work for you. Okay, so that works very well. And then you've got an English horn down here, which is kind of nice. So when you're using these types of backgrounds, any of your symphonic instruments, your horns, your oboes, your English horns, your strings with bells, that's all going to sound absolutely fabulous on this rhythm. The bagpipes, I already tried that a little bit with you, but I also wanted to show you what something like the troubadours. Troubadours is very interesting. I can't remember if I did that one. Oh, this is the one I had a tough time finding a really good tempo. But what troubadours actually does is it gives it more of a Renaissance sound. Now see, that didn't sound so good on the, that's a little bit fast, but it does give you some drums on the fill-in. But I like having the Renaissance sounds. Interesting, huh? So don't be afraid to try some things that you normally wouldn't use and see what it does. So I hope I gave you enough suggestions, Diane. Did I give you enough suggestions to try?
I am so thrilled. I have struggled with this and I finally settled on Grand March, but Bolero hit the nail. That's exactly what I was looking for. And I never would have thought of it in a million years. So thank you. It's perfect.
You're
You
very
exceeded
welcome.
my expectations.
What was the tempo on Bolero?
Bolero is 112.
Oh, it is 112.
112, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I've already had a suggestion for next week. Somebody would like to do the Christmas song. Now, we're doing it in the morning class. So is that okay if we do it in the afternoon class as well? Are you guys going to be mad if I do the same song for 2 classes in a row?
Fine.
That's perfect.
That's all right?
Christmas song is perfect. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Because there's lots and lots of stuff we can actually do with the Christmas song. My class this morning, I showed all the extra chords. I'm going to pull out a few of them. I think I'm going to just give you some of the major 7s and
Oh, yeah.
yeah, make it kind of fun. Yep. I won't give you all the new chords because there's a lot. I can make it very advanced, and I don't want to do that to you guys. This is an intermediate class, but I will pull out a couple of the new chords and throw them at you. And again, always optional, but the Christmas song is a nice song. That's where you roast your chipmunks. I mean, your chestnuts.
Dawn, can I ask you a question?
Yes, you may, Jen.
Okay, on the and all the songs in Easy Play, it gives you a rhythm, and then it says a registration number,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
registration 3. What is that for?
Okay. Normally, I tell you pretty much ignore that. You know why? Because Hal Leonard publishes these books for everything. Digital pianos, Wurlitzer organs, that was published for everything. Keyboards, and a lot of those registrations are old, okay? And some of these rhythms, this one actually is good. It says March, but sometimes they're terrible suggestions. For example, the song Yesterday, just because it was written by the Beatles, they will put in there rock. And that's not rock at all. So a lot of them are wrong. And the registrations are actually sound suggestions, what to use with your right hand. If you look in the back of some of your Easy Play books, you will have a page that has registration numbers, and it gives you things like flutes and organs, strings. It'll give you a set of sounds that you can use. But that's why you don't need those, is because you have this. You have all of these rhythm presets right in front of you. And you have song setups that are giving you 2 sounds for each one of them. So those are the best places to start. You're going to have lots and lots of choices. And then you can get away from your original choices and try some of your other sounds. And again, do not be afraid to push the buttons and try. If you liked the sound of the recorders that I did in the Troubadours, but you didn't necessarily care for the background, save that sound in one of your presets and use it for a Bolero background. Mix and match. Okay? I want you to get
Thank
to
you.
know your instrument. And if you have any questions on how to do that, email me and I'll either tell you over the email or I'll call you and we can talk it through on the phone. Okay?
Thank you.
Hey, Dawn.
I've done that a few times.
Yes, you have. Ramon, did you have a question?
Yes, and did we decide what book we're using for next year on
Yes.
Wednesday?
Yes, we're going to be using book 367, The Songs of the 70s.
Oh, okay. I
Okay.
need that. I need that book.
Okay, I did order 3 extra ones.
Okay, good.
Okay?
Thank you.
I always do that because there's always people that thought they had
$21.39.
$21.39, yes.
39 cents.
Any questions or anything to say before?
Dawn, do you have time for one more question?
Yes, I do.
When you're in the middle of a song and you want to change presets, how do you make that happen smoothly without it jumping in too fast?
Okay, that's actually a good thing to talk about. First of all, make sure that if you're on a note, you don't want to switch presets while you're still holding the note, because that's not smooth. Then it does the same sound on the same note. You want to make sure you lift your hand before touching the next preset so that your next note starts the phrase with the new sound.
Do you
Okay?
lift chords also?
Well, your chords are going to hold. Your chords are going to hold. So if you play a C chord, it's going to hold, and you've got all the time in the world, usually, to press a preset. Just make sure you press it when you're not on a note. Change it in between notes so it stays nice and smooth.
Okay, yeah, thank
Okay?
you.
Some
Yep,
people may
got it.
also want to put presets. You can use your next preset feature, which would be like on a foot switch. You can touch your next preset feature and put it on the right foot switch, for example, especially because I like to use my fill-ins with my thumb. So I'm not using my right foot switch. You might want to put your foot switch on the right foot switch, and then when I kick the right foot switch, I don't know if you can see the colors changing. Yeah, you can see the lights changing. See how it goes up and down the line? It just goes to the next preset with your foot. The only problem with that is sometimes you kick it too hard and it'll go 2 or 3, it'll skip. Okay, so that's a little bit of a trick as well to use that. But if you've got your hands busy, especially in a fast song, you can put that foot switch on and get it to go to your next preset.
Dawn, are you talking about like what we did Monday when we programmed it in different things? Or are you just talking about it goes to the next preset? Like if you're on one, it goes to 2?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yep.
So it's not for having already been programmed.
Nope, you can do it for the ones that are here.
Okay.
You could, but you have to already have decided I want to use preset 1, preset 2, and preset 3.
Yeah, right. If you don't like it, you're.
If you want to use preset 1, preset 5, and preset 8, you better be pushing it with your finger so that you can get to the right one.
Okay.
Good question, though. Very good question.
Okay, thank you.
But you see what you guys are doing? You're thinking like arrangers.
Yeah.
Where do I change the sound? How do I make it smooth? You're thinking like arrangers. What a wonderful thing. You guys are coming a long, long way, and I'm very proud of you all. Yep, excellent. All right, we're going to do the Christmas song next week. We're going to do it in both the in-store class at 10:15 and this class at 12:30. If you need the music, please email me, and I'll be very happy to send it to you. And if you did not get your Sounds of the Season Christmas concert email, shoot me an email and I'll forward the right one to you, because there are 4 of them and they're divided up according to instruments, the instruments that you have. Okay?
Okay, thank
All right.
you.
You guys are
Thank you.
awesome. Thank you so
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
much.
Thank you.
You're awesome too.
We'll see you next
Bye-bye.
time.